Hey, everybody. Welcome to tonight's call. I am Sabrina Diaz, Emerald Ambassador, and tonight we are going to dive in and figure out how well you handle your hard. So this is going to be a little bit interactive. Nobody has to speak. It's just going to be based in the chat. So if you know how to utilize the chat, that's what we're going to use tonight to just answer some simple questions and try to see what levels we're all on. If we're all pretty much connected, if we're all still like in the same wavelength. So we're just going to dive into that and see where we go from there. So I am going to share my screen. Let's do this. Okay. So let's start from the very beginning. Okay, so let this title sink in a minute. Do you handle hard well? Think about that. Think of all of the hard things and think, do you handle them appropriately? Do you handle them well? And we're going to dive into that. So I always start off my meetings with a quote. I just feel like it sets the tone and kind of gives a nice beginning to what we're going to be talking about. So this quote says, successful people are not gifted. They just work hard, then succeed on purpose, because their success, all of our success, is a choice. And these are the choices that we're going to have to make either tonight or sometime really soon if we want to be a part of this successful. So moving on. So nobody wakes up gifted. We have to start there. This is something that we choose, and it's something that is learned. You're not just gifted from the very beginning when you open your eyes and a career is thrown on your plate. That's not how it works. You have to be intentional about what you want to achieve. Successful people have put their work in all day. They don't just take breaks. It is a continuous cycle of working on their business. And they did not become successful by accident. It is very intentional. When you see those successful people out there, they have worked their butt off and they have deserved exactly what they have put out to achieve. So this is where we are going to get interactive. So in the chat, I don't know if I can see the chat from here. I want you to write, what is hard in your business right now? What do you find, and whatever you feel is hard. There's no judgment. Let's see. Okay. So one of mine that I hear very often, and you guys can keep putting them in the chat, overcoming fears. This can be fear of man, fear of the unknown, fear of whatever it is, public speaking, whatever is holding you back. That's a hard. Sometimes we don't think these things are hard or part of our hard because they just seem so easy, but these are hard things that so many people struggle with. So overcoming fears is definitely one. Cold messaging. This is the fear of the unknown. So a lot of people struggle with cold messaging. This is hard. Follow-ups, feeling pushy, feeling we continuously keep sending messages. What if they don't want to hear from me? This is a hard. Retention. What if I reach out and they just want to quit? These are things that are hard. Being a leader. I hear this quite often. People don't feel like they have what it takes to be a leader. And yet nobody came into this business or in any business being a gifted leader. It's a learned experience. It's something that we learn, and it's something that you will keep on learning, because being a leader can never be mastered. It never can. It's a continuous learning cycle. So if that is one of your hards, it's definitely on the list. And hard conversations. Let's get real right now. We have to have those hard conversations sometimes. Speaking from our heart is the best way to do these, but it never feels very good. So if you avoid these, just think of where it could lead from there. So these are some things that are hard. So here's the second part of our question. What happens if you do not overcome the hard? Write those into the chat. What you feel like could happen if you do not overcome the hard. And I'm going to give that a minute. These are really good. These are really good, guys. And believe me, you're not the only ones that feel this. There's a lot of these. Thank you so much for being vulnerable tonight. Yes. So I'm going to give you some that I have put out there. And one is self-doubt. Self-doubt will kill your joy instantly. And this is a hard. We feed our self-doubt, which then leads into negative thoughts. Negative thoughts, we all have them. Negative thoughts are very, very normal. But what is not normal is when your negative thoughts take over your positive thoughts. That is when you know you have hit your hard. Do not let your negative thoughts take over your positive. Sometimes we don't know what we're thinking is an actual negative thought. So some that I have here, 2 right here, I can't do this. I'm sure at some point you have heard it from somebody else. You have heard this. I can't do this. Or it's so hard. Yes, it is. Anything in life that is, worth your while, it's going to be hard. It's something that you dream of. It's something that you want. It's going to be hard if you really want it. She's just better at this. Now, this one's one of my pet peeves. I've heard this all my life. I'm a very driven individual, and it's not that I excel at things. I just pour my heart into things. I love to be the best at all things. I'm very competitive. And so I try my absolute best in everything that I do. Does that make me better than anybody else? Does that make me stronger at the gym than anybody else or supernatural? Absolutely not. It just means that I am more intentional with what I do and the time that I put into what I do. And when is it going to be easy for me like it is for her? Let that sink in for a second. Is it ever easy for anybody? No. That short, quick answer is absolutely not. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. I've been watching a lot of Brittany Howard and Christina Williams training videos. And Christina says that at the very beginning of her business, she was slow to start. And it took her 4 weeks to get her first sign. 4 weeks. Now, the success measure on how quick you go? Clearly not in this case, because Christina Williams is a diamond. But she said at week 3, she went to her sponsor, Brittany Howard, and said, I can't do this. And her sponsor replied accordingly. She said, trust the process. Could you imagine how hard that was for Christina to pivot, turn around, go back to what she was doing and press on? But yet she did. She pushed through the hard. Could you imagine if she gave up then 3 weeks into her business? She'd never be the diamond she is today. That is a perfect example of pushing through the hard and getting over those negative thoughts that mean nothing. They don't define you, and there is no evidence to prove that it is true. So, moving on. Okay, so I am so sorry to drop this bomb on you, but you just become someone who handles hard stuff better. It doesn't get easier. It absolutely does not get easier. You just become someone who handles the hard stuff better. And just when you think you're handling your hard really, really well, there will be something else even harder waiting for you. Yeah, that was a mic drop for me. And this is because we are preparing ourselves for the next level. We don't stay stagnant in this business. So by the show of hands, if everybody can just raise their hand, your last promotion, your last rank up, was it hard? It was for me. It absolutely was for me. Everybody got through it, and we're all still here for a reason, because we didn't let that hard push us back. We continued on. Get my notes ready. So let's say you're a gold right now, right? You're a gold. And you want to go senior gold. Do you think that your hard is going to be at the same level right now when it's going to be like pushing for senior gold? Do you think it's going to get harder or stay the same? It's absolutely going to get harder. How about being or achieving ruby or senior ruby or emerald or sapphire or diamond? Do you think that your hard, your level of hard is going to get harder throughout those promotions? Absolutely. But yet again, you're just going to get better at your hard. You're going to push through it every single time. You just get good at handling the hard. So how do you handle the hard? Number one thing that you have to do is you have to have a mental shift. A mental shift has to occur at some level. You cannot keep going down the path you're going on if it is not working. If it's hard and you feel stuck, you need to pivot. You need to do something else. A mental shift has to occur. I'm going to pull this up. You have to consciously redirect your attention. If you're constantly saying, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't, take that can't out right off the bat. You have to change that can't to I can. I can do this. Find your gratitude. Find what is going to make you speak more positive to yourself. Those negative thoughts have nothing to do with your career. They have nothing to do with your career. It's all about transitioning that negative into a positive and pushing past the hard. And if you go around waiting for stuff to get easier, it's never going to happen. It's absolutely never going to happen. And right here, I want you to take note. If you're waiting for it to get easier, this is where the majority sits. Now, if you want to be a part of the majority, that is completely fine. Stay put, do what you're doing, okay? But I don't want to be a part of the majority. I want to excel. I want to move forward. So just know that you're never going to exceed past the majority if you don't put in that effort. The definition to successful means surpassing the majority. So if you do not want to stay amongst the masses and you want to be successful, You have to surpass the majority, and you have to figure out how to get there. Nobody can do it for you but you. Okay. So if you want something, you have to put in the work. You have to make that mental shift. You have to pivot in the right direction and focus and have vision of where you want to go. Keep those blinders on and push forward. That is the only way you can handle the hard, because it's only going to get harder if you don't get control of it now. But y'all, it is all so worth it. Where's my diamonds at tonight? Where's my diamonds? Did you ever experience an easy rank up? Anybody? Let me see. I don't think you can. There is no easy rank up. It's just getting harder with the levels, but it's as much as you want to pour into it. And that is the difference of success. If you figure out what you are hard at, master it. Master the hard, and it is all worth it. But why? Because you get to live like no one else later. Yes, this is temporary right now. Yes, we are in the thick of it right now. But the hard doesn't last forever. But then once that temporary is over, you get to live like no one else later. But what does that look like to you? You came into this business with some vision, some dream. What did it look like for you? Put that in the chat. What was your vision when you first came to this business? Was it helping and successfully helping as many people as you could? Was it building your dream home, taking luxurious trips, paying off your kids' college, buying them a car, buying yourself a car, paying your water bill? What was it that drove you to this business? This is what I want you to focus on. This is exactly what I want you to focus on. Everything that's going in here right now, I want you to focus on why you started to begin with. And that is going to push you through that hard. When things feel like they're endless, when they feel like an eternity, these are just feelings that you have to push past. If you dwell, if you retract, you're never going to succeed. You have to push past the hard. And so that went pretty quick, but I always like to end with a quote. And this one happens to be my absolute favorite. And it says, remember that guy that gave up? Neither does anybody else. Nobody remembers that guy because they're nothing. They gave up before they ever pulled ahead. Don't be that. You have every opportunity to be super successful in this business. You just have to pivot, change your mental shift, and focus on what you want. Choose your legacy and choose your heart. So I'm going to end it there. Let me see. How do I stop share? And that is all I have for you tonight. I just wanted to focus on the absolute heart of your business, but how it is achievable to get around it and push forward. Do not let your heart be your demise. Push past it and create your own legacy. Have a great night tonight, y'all. Thank you so much for jumping on tonight. It was amazing talking to you guys. Have a great night.